In the beginning, everything was perfect. Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden, a place of beauty, peace, and abundance. The air was fresh, the rivers flowed gently, and every tree in the garden was pleasant to the eye and good for food. There was no pain, no fear, no shame. They lived in harmony with creation, and most of all, they walked in fellowship with God. But in the middle of the garden stood one tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God had given them one command. They could eat freely from every other tree, but not from that one. It was a simple instruction, but it carried a serious warning. The day they ate from it, everything would change. Then came the serpent. More subtle than any other creature in the garden, the serpent approached Eve with a question designed to plant doubt. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Eve answered, telling the serpent that they could eat from the trees except for the one in the middle of the garden. She even repeated the warning that if they touched it or ate from it, they would die. But the serpent was not done. With cunning words, he challenged the truth God had spoken. "You will not surely die," he said, "for God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." Now the fruit looked different. What once was forbidden now seemed attractive. It looked good for food, pleasing to the eyes, and desirable for gaining wisdom. In that moment, Eve faced a choice. Trust the voice of God or trust the voice of the serpent. She reached out, she took the fruit, and she ate. Then she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate too. And just like that, innocence was lost. Their eyes were opened, but not to glory. They saw their nakedness and felt shame for the very first time. So they quickly sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. Then they heard the sound of God walking in the garden. What should have been a moment of joy became a moment of fear. Adam and Eve hid among the trees. When God called out, "Where are you?" Adam answered from his hiding place, trembling with guilt. He confessed that he was afraid because he was naked. And when God asked if he had eaten from the forbidden tree, blame began to replace love. Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. And with that, sin had entered the human story. The consequences were painful and far-reaching. The serpent was cursed. Pain and sorrow would mark human life. The ground itself would resist Adam's labor. And worst of all, Adam and Eve were driven out of Eden, separated from the paradise they once called home. But even in judgment, God showed mercy. He made garments for them to cover their shame, and in the middle of humanity's first great failure, a quiet hope was spoken that one day evil would be crushed. This is the story of the fall of Adam, a story of temptation, disobedience, and consequence. But it is also a story that reminds us that even when humanity fails, God's mercy still speaks. Lesson from the story. The fall teaches us that temptation often begins with doubt. When people begin to question God's truth, disobedience becomes easier. But it also shows that sin brings separation, shame, and pain. Still, even in the darkest moment, God did not abandon Adam and Eve. His justice remained, but so did his mercy.